The Call of the Red Forest. Though the size of the building was quite imposing, the landscaping and ambience surrounding Red Forest boarding school exuded warmth and welcome. Clark had always had a penchant for nature, and here she found herself amid lush greenery. Taking a moment to breathe in the scents of fresh grass and pine, she smiled as she adjusted her Ray-Ban glasses. "How do you feel, sweetie?" her mother asked, walking beside her. Clark inhaled deeply before replying. "This place," she gestured around, admiring the towering trees lining the path to the main entrance, "smells like Christmas." Her mother chuckled, a bittersweet smile on her face as she looked at her daughter. "I won't see my baby until Christmas," her mother said softly, her voice thick with emotion as they approached the grand entrance. A single tear glimmered in her mother's eye, even as a smile remained on her lips. Clark felt her own heart tug at the sight. "Mom, please, we talked about this," Clark protested lightly, but before she knew it, her mother enveloped her in a warm, lingering hug, swaying them gently. "I can't help it, it's hard to see my little bird leave the nest." Clark relished the warmth of the embrace, knowing she would miss her mom dearly. "I promise I'll call as often as I can," she murmured into her mother's shoulder, who eventually released her, wiping a few stray tears from her cheeks. "You will thrive here, Clark," her mother said, her voice shaky but proud. "I love you, sweetheart." Her mother's voice cracked again, causing Clark to smirk, pushing her mom away gently. Okay, Mom, I love you too. Now go before you flood the entrance with tears," she joked, trying to lighten the mood. Though she usually felt the urge to tear up alongside her mother, today's excitement ran high. As she entered the building, Clark was met with a labyrinth of hallways. Where are the dorms, she wondered, peering at her papers in confusion. She read over the directions again. Her dorm was in this main building, on floor B. An elevator? Intrigued, Clark shook her head with a grin. Making her way to the lift, she positioned her duffel bag across her chest and pressed the button for B. The elevator hummed to life, and she couldn't help but appreciate the novelty. As she stepped out after the elevator dinged, a voice stopped her abruptly. "You new here?" Clark turned to see a girl her age, a friendly smile gracing her lips. Adjusting her glasses, Clark chuckled awkwardly. "Yes, I am. Is it that obvious?" "Only a little," the girl said playfully, before lifting her hands in a pinch-like gesture. "What dorm room are you in? I can help you find it." "I'm the RA." "Thank goodness." Clark sighed with relief. "I'm no good with this kind of stuff." The RA raised an eyebrow as she smiled. "Can I see your paper?" Clark nodded and handed it over. "Of course, oh." The other girl frowned slightly. "Looks like you're in Whorehouse 101. "Wait, what?" Clark was baffled. "They bring back freshmen to that room just about every night," the RA elaborated, her face scrunching in distaste. Clark's concern for the freshmen grew. "Those poor freshmen," she said quietly. "Yep." The RA nodded, her voice laced with sympathy. "I'm Alexandra, but you can call me Alex." "I'm Clark." She shook Alex's hand, appreciating the camaraderie. "Trust me, you'll handle your roommate just fine," Alex assured her. "You seem put together." Clark felt her cheeks warm slightly at Alex's compliment. "If you need anything, I'm right down the hall," Alex added. Clark thanked her, watching her go. With her spirits lifted by meeting Alex, Clark made her way to the dreaded room 101. Upon reaching the door, she hesitated, debating whether to knock or just walk in. Before she could decide, the door swung open, revealing a tall girl with a smirk. "So, you're my new roommate?" the girl asked, her voice low and sultry. Clark gulped, suddenly feeling shy. "I'm, Clark," she managed to say, her breath catching slightly. "Nice to meet you." "I'm Melinda." Clark's heart raced as she entered the room, glancing around at the chaotic but lively decorations. Clothes were strewn everywhere, but the colorful bedspreads and fairy lights gave the messy space a vibrant touch. As Melinda gave Clark a quick tour of their room, everything seemed overwhelming yet exciting. After a few moments, they found themselves at the window, where Clark's eyes drifted towards the magnificent forest surrounding the school. "What's that forest like?" she asked, mesmerized by the red trees swaying in the breeze. Melinda shook her head. "Don't bother. It's haunted, or at least the stories say so." Intrigued, Clark merely nodded but couldn't shake the feeling of wanting to know more about the woods. As night descended, Clark noticed Melinda was easily animated while chatting about their classmates. They stopped at a large clearing filled with students playing games and hanging out. "That's the tech nerds over there," Melinda said, gesturing at a table of girls enthusiastically tinkering with a project. "And those are the wannabe business owners," Clark added, observing the driven students huddled around their laptops. As they laughed and shared stories, Clark caught sight of a group at a nearby table. "What about those girls?" she inquired, curiosity piqued. "Those are the It girls," Melinda replied dramatically. "Olivia is the head of that group. Don't let her looks fool you, she has a reputation." Clark felt a curious pull towards the alluring girl at the table. For some inexplicable reason, their eyes met, and Clark's heart raced. Later that night, with the excitement of the day still buzzing, Clark found herself standing at the edge of the red tree forest, drawn to it inexplicably. She didn't understand why she felt compelled to approach it, but the allure was nearly magnetic. A voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back to reality. "Clark? What are you doing out here?" Melinda's concerned expression appeared in the moonlight. "I don't know," Clark admitted, unsure of her own feelings. "Let's not go any closer," Melinda urged. "This place has a reputation, and it's not good." Clark glanced back at the forest, feeling a mix of exhilaration and fear. There was something about it that felt alive, almost like it was calling her name. "Okay, let's head back," she agreed reluctantly. As they turned to leave, Clark cast one final glance at the trees, a sense of wonder lingering in her heart as she followed her new friend back to the warmth of their dorm, knowing that Red Forest would hold secrets yet to be discovered. As days turned into weeks at Red Forest boarding school, Clark found herself settling into a routine, but the pull of the forest lingered in her mind. Her days were filled with classes, new friendships, and the ever-present laughter that filled the halls. However, no matter how vibrant her interactions were, the allure of the mysterious red trees never faded. Clark spent more time with Melinda, who was lively and confident, easily making friends with others. Together, they explored the campus and the various cliques that formed around them, the artsy girls in the theater club, the science enthusiasts in the robotics team, and the bookworms curled up in cozy nooks with stacks of novels. Each group fascinated Clark, but still, a shadow loomed over her curiosity about the forest. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, draping the sky in shades of orange and purple, Clark slumped in her bed, staring at the pile of homework that she struggled to focus on. Melinda was out studying with some friends, leaving Clark alone with her thoughts, and the whisperings of the forest grew louder in her mind. "I can't keep ignoring it," Clark muttered to herself, feeling a strange sense of urgency. With a pounding heart and a mix of excitement and trepidation, she decided to venture out to the clearing once again, determined to unravel the mystery that had begun to consume her. Pulling on her jacket, she quietly slipped out of the dorm, avoiding the common room where students gathered, laughter echoing around her, and steered towards the familiar path that would lead her to the forest. The moonlight illuminated the way, guiding her like a beacon. As she neared the metal fence, she felt that same magnetic pull urging her forward. She climbed over the fence with a hurried breath, excitement tinged with fear tingling in her fingertips. The moment her feet touched the ground on the other side, an electric buzz coursed through her, heightening her senses as if the forest itself were alive. Clark ventured further into the woods, the leaves crunching underfoot as the trees loomed above her like ancient guardians. The scent of damp earth filled her lungs, mixed with something floral and sweet that hung in the air, almost intoxicating. She took a deep breath as she moved deeper into the embrace of the red trees. The forest was eerily quiet, and her heartbeat echoed loudly in her ears as she navigated the twisting trails. Just as doubt began to creep in, she stumbled into a clearing. It was breathtaking. The pond shimmered like glass under the pale moonlight, surrounded by wildflowers swaying in a gentle breeze. And then she saw it, a figure standing at the edge of the pond. "Who's there?" Clark called out, adrenaline surging through her veins. The figure turned, and Clark's breath caught in her throat. It was Olivia Vanderwall, the girl from the cafeteria. Her long dark hair cascaded around her shoulders, and the moonlight made her green eyes glimmer. Clark hadn't seen Olivia since their brief encounter at lunch, and having her here in the forest felt surreal. "Clark, right?" Olivia said, her voice smooth yet mysterious. "What are you doing out here?" I felt drawn to the forest," Clark admitted hesitantly. "I wanted to explore." Olivia raised an eyebrow, a playful smile dancing on her lips, almost as if she found Clark's curiosity amusing. "It's a dangerous place to wander alone," Olivia said, stepping closer, her presence almost magnetic as if the air between them crackled with energy. Clark could feel her cheeks flush under Olivia's gaze, but that magnetic tug grew stronger. "What are you doing here?" Clark asked, shifting nervously but unable to break the connection. "Oh, Olivia shrugged casually, checking on the legends." Clark quirked her head to the side, intrigued. "Legends?" "The forest has stories, whispers of spirits and strange occurrences. People say those who enter search for something, and they usually find it," Olivia said, her tone mischievous. "What do you mean?" Clark asked, trying to hide the chill that ran down her spine. "Some say you can find your heart's desire," Olivia replied, stepping even closer, her voice barely above a whisper, "but others believe it takes what you value most." Clark felt a chill at the thought, but curiosity pushed her deeper. "Do you believe any of it?" Olivia's gaze was intense, making Clark feel as if they were the only two people in the world. "I haven't decided yet. But I guess that's why I'm here, to find out for myself." Without thinking, Clark took a step closer, unable to resist the magnetic pull. "What do you think it'll show you?" "Maybe a glimpse of power," Olivia replied, her smile widening, revealing a hint of her playful side. Clark felt an unexpected rush of admiration, and before she could process it, she was towing the line between wanting to learn more and retreating back to the safety of her dorm. "You don't seem afraid," Clark said, searching Olivia's expression. "Should I be?" Olivia asked, her playful demeanor unyielding. "I like a little adventure." As if on cue, the wind picked up around them, swirling the leaves and causing the branches to sway ominously. Clark couldn't deny the thrill racing through her, the thrill that came with breaking barriers and stepping into the unknown. "Then let's see what we find together," Clark suggested, emboldened by Olivia's fearless aura. Olivia's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and without another word, she nodded. "Let's go," she said, taking Clark's hand and leading her deeper into the forest. Clark couldn't help but wonder if she was embarking on a journey to discover just what this forest was capable of revealing, not only about the world around her but also about herself. As they ventured further into the shadowy depths, the forest beckoned like an enigmatic puzzle, and she was ready to uncover its secrets, alongside the girl who had inadvertently entangled herself in her heart. With each step through the enchanting woods, Clark felt more alive than she had ever felt before, the darkness ahead pregnant with possibility, adventure, and something more profound, something that might finally answer the questions that had haunted her heart. The deeper Clark and Olivia ventured into the forest, the more the atmosphere shifted. The air became dense with an unexplainable energy, charged with a magic that made Clark's pulse race. Their hands intertwined as they navigated through the maze of crimson trees, illuminating each other's faces in the soft glow of the moonlight that filtered through the branches. After a while, they came upon a small grove, where the trees parted to reveal a clearing bathed in soft, ethereal light. The sight took Clark's breath away. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone altar, worn and covered in vines, yet emanating a sense of power. "Is this real?" Clark murmured, stepping forward cautiously. "Yes," Olivia replied, her voice almost reverential. As they approached the altar, a profound stillness enveloped them, as if the forest itself was waiting for something to happen. "What do you think we should do?" Clark asked, glancing at Olivia, who appeared equally captivated. "I think we should leave an offering," Olivia suggested, glancing around the clearing. "Maybe something that represents our heart's desires." Clark nodded, contemplating the significance of such an act. She reached into her pocket, pulling out a small stone she'd picked up on her first day at Red Forest, a simple yet comforting memento of her journey thus far. "This is a reminder of home, for the courage to embrace the unknown," she said softly. Olivia dug into her backpack and retrieved a small gold locket. "This is for my grandmother. She taught me about strength and the importance of following my dreams." Together, they placed their offerings on the altar, side by side. The moment they did, the wind howled through the grove, and a deep hum resonated around them. The air vibrated with energy, and bright light seemed to pulse from the altar, enveloping them in a warm embrace. Clark and Olivia stood frozen, eyes wide, as the light danced around them. Symbols began to appear on the stone, swirling patterns and runes, each one glowing with a different hue. "It's beautiful," Clark whispered, feeling the magic pull at her heart. "Do you feel that?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Clark nodded. A feeling of connection washed over her, an understanding that they were both on a journey far beyond this moment. Suddenly, the resonating hum broke into soft whispers, each voice distinct yet carrying a collective message. Clark could make out words: freedom, courage, love, and vulnerability. The forest felt alive, responding to their desires, their fears, their hopes. Olivia squeezed Clark's hand tightly. "This is incredible," she breathed, eyes sparkling with wonder. Just then, the wind shifted, and for a brief moment, everything stilled. A single beam of light penetrated through the canopy, illuminating the altar and the offerings. Clark felt an overwhelming urge to close her eyes and embrace the moment. "I want to know who I truly am," she thought, the words forming silently in her mind. "I want to embrace the parts of me I've been afraid to explore." As if responding to her unspoken desire, the light intensified, swirling around them and extending into the woods, wrapping them in warmth. Clark briefly glanced at Olivia, who looked as if she had also found herself within the light's embrace. The connection between them felt deeper in that moment, an unspoken understanding that transcended words. Then, as quickly as it began, the light faded, leaving the clearing quiet once more. Clark opened her eyes to find that the altar stood as it always had, but the air felt lighter, and hope surged in her chest. "We should go back," Olivia said, her voice steady. "I think we've been given a glimpse of our own potential." Clark nodded, a mixture of disbelief and elation washing over her. "You're right. This place, it has a way of revealing what we need to see." They ventured back through the forest, their hands still interlinked, no longer just two girls caught in the whirlwind of an adventure, but companions shaped by shared experience. The forest felt different, less ominous and more like a sanctuary, a living tapestry woven from their newfound understanding. As they exited back into the school grounds, a gentle smile played on Clark's lips. "Do you think we changed?" she asked. "Definitely," Olivia replied, her eyes shimmering with excitement. "But it's not just about the forest, it's what we choose to do with what we've discovered." Clark knew in that moment that she had found more than just friendship in Olivia, she had found someone who encouraged her to embrace her true self. "So, what's next for us?" Clark asked, her heart racing at the prospect of what lay ahead. "Adventure, more discoveries, and maybe even some mischief," Olivia winked, her playful demeanor resurfacing. As they shared a laugh, Clark felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had entered Red Forest seeking more than just a scholarly life, she had sought meaning, connection, and the courage to be true to herself. And now, standing beside Olivia, she realized that the journey had only just begun. Together, they stepped away from the threshold of the forest, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, hearts open to the new adventures that life, and perhaps even magic, would bring their way. The bond they forged in those redwoods would guide them through not just their time at school but through life itself, intertwined in a tapestry of friendship, courage, and a shared journey of self-discovery that would last long after they left the campus behind.